Cowabunga, dudes, because you have reached Red Steele's Toy Collector Review. I'm your man, Red Steele, and today I'll be reviewing from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ace Duck, and Mutagen Man. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ace Duck, and Mutagen Man. But before I get to the actual review, I just want to go over some of the fantastic details on this packaging. Up front here, the table display will show you both the figures and all their accessories inside. In the corner here, you have the Nickelodeon logo. Then up here it says Ace Duck and Mutagen Man. Then down here you have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo. In the corner here you have an actual picture of the animated version of Ace Duck. And in the other corner here you have the animated version of Mutagen Man. The other side of the packaging here, at the very top you have the Nickelodeon logo. Below that you have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo. And down here you have the actual picture of the Ace Duck figure. The other side of the packaging here, you have the same thing. At the very top you have the Nickelodeon logo. Below that you have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo. And down here you have a picture of the actual Mutagen Man figure. Then on the back of the packaging here, up in the corner you have the Nickelodeon logo. Below that you have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo. And down here it says Ace Duck and Mutagen Man. Then over here I have a copy that reads, after being accidentally exposed to radioactive ooze, 4 ordinary household pets are transformed into a band of wisecracking, pizza-loving, villain-dicing adolescent reptiles. Meet Leonardo, the super cool, sword-wielding leader. Raphael, the hot-headed, hurling manholes and one-liners in rapid succession. Donatello, the brain behind the brawn. And Michelangelo, the ice cream, pizza-gobbling party animal. Whether it's facing fierce enemies or saving humanity from near extinction, with the guidance of their sensei, these heroes in a half shell are always ready for straight out of the sewer action. Then over here, you have a picture of the actual Ace Duck and Mutagen Man figures. Over here it says collect them all, and down here you have a crossover of all the other available figures. NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ace Duck, and Mutagen Man 2-pack. Ace Duck and Mutagen Man will release on November 1st, 2021 with the suggested retail price of $54.99, and they're available exclusively at Target. Ace Duck and Mutagen Man have multiple points of articulation. Ace Duck's weapons include 2 service pistols, 2 egg grenades, pilot's cap, VHS tape, film reel, alternative head, and 6 swapple hands. Mutagen Man's accessories include a swapple faceplate, tank, weapon, and 6 swapple hands. Ace Duck and Mutagen Man stand in between 6 and 7.5 inches tall, and they are meant for fans ages 14 and up. Now that I have both Ace Duck and Mutagen Man on my display table, so we'll go over some of their play features and accessories. First by talking about Ace Duck's pilot hat. This pilot hat just simply rests on his head. There's no means of really securing his head on his head. There's no pegs or tabs that secure the hat. It just simply gets placed on his head. You get this groove that fits his head. He just places his hat right on top of his head, and now you have Ace Duck with his pilot's hat. Pretty cool accessory. There's next accessory I want to go bring in are his interchangeable hands. And Ace Duck comes with 6 interchangeable hands. The first 2 I have here are his fists. As you can see, he has 4 fingers, which is pretty standard in cartoon land. But you don't have the sharp contrasting digits. You have kind of like a fuzzy texture, like a texture that kind of simulates maybe it's covered with feathers or fur. So it's not really smooth. And a nice detail that NEC did that goes above and beyond a lot of other collectible action figure companies is, it may have been molded out of yellow plastic, but they wanted to go take a step further by making sure that all the parts match each other, like the feathers on the wings, you got the face, the chest, even the hands. Because a lot of times when you mold or you take that risk of molding a certain color plastic, it doesn't always match and there's not really a lot of consistency. And since we are paying premium buck for these collectibles, NECA wanted to make sure that there was some continuity there, so all the body parts match, which is really nice detail. I love it that they went that extra step for us collectors. Because the next hand I want to bring in is the finger pointing hand, which is pretty much something a pilot would totally do. They give you that gunshot finger, which is pretty cute. You know, as you can see, there's more detail with this one, but as you can see, the top of the hands, you know, have that round digit, so it could be fur or feathers. You know, very nicely done. Next fist I want to bring in is the thumbs up. You get that pilot's thumbs up. I don't know if you guys can see it too well, but it's really well detailed, very nicely done. The last hand I want to bring in is a hand that could possibly hold a weapon. It has a trigger finger right up here, the index finger kind of curled out a little bit further, and it matches the default hand, the left hand right here. So if you choose to arm A-Stuck with both weapons, you can do that if you just pop that fist out, because the default hand is an open hand. We're going to put all these fists off to the side. We're going to go ahead and talk about Mutagen Man's hands, and he does come with 5 hands. I stand corrected, because earlier on I mentioned that Mutagen Man had 6 interchangeable hands. He only has 5. And the first hand I want to bring out is the open hand, and this is his left hand, because the left hand has 2 purple boils on the back of his hand. Very nicely done. Again, you get the 4 fingers here. This one has more detail, because this is not supposed to be covered with fur. It's supposed to be simulate human hand. You get the creases in the knuckles and the fingers right there. You got palm detail. You don't really have fingernail detail because that wasn't animated. So I mean, these figures are very, very faithful to the animated model, and you know, I don't think the animators went the extra step in animated fingernails, because that's a detail that, you know, us kids will overlook when watching a cartoon series. But I'm gonna put this hand off to the side. So the next hand I want to bring in is a semi-open hand, and this is supposed to be the left hand again, because you got the 2 purple boils, because the right hand actually has 1 boil. And this hand right here, to me, is the hand where you arm his weapon with, because you have that index finger, which is kind of protruding a little bit further, so it supposed to simulate holding a weapon, which is a hand I'm probably going to put on Mutant Man in a second. To show you guys how to interchange his hands. Because the next 2 hands I want to bring in are or largely open hand. That's to hold his little tank that he comes with. And again, the left hand here has the 2 boils, and the right hand here has the 1 boil. What I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to move A-Stuck off to the side so I'll knock him over, and I know his hat goes flying off every time he falls over, and these fists are very tight, so I don't want to risk knocking the camera over, but I got the close fist as default fist. And I'm going to go ahead and take the left hand, you got the 2 purple boils here, you have this tapered peg on the very end here, you have a porthole in the wrist, so you want to go and pop that hand right into the wrist just like that. Because I'm going to go ahead and take this other default fist, I'm going to pull this out, because I want to put in the hand that arms his weapon, because those are the next accessories I'm going to bring in, because I'm going to fully arm both figures. So I'm going to take these fists, put them off to the side, and I'm going to pull A-Stuck back up here, because these figures come with a lot of accessories, and they make it very worth our while. I mean, the original toy line did come with a lot of accessories, and you know, with the TMNT toy line from the late 80s, early 90s, they were one of the first action figure lines that incorporated where you could store weapons on the figures, which I'm going to show you in a moment, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be showing you guys in a moment. But the first accessory I want to go ahead and bring in is his interchangeable head. And this head here, it's more of a different expression. You got open mouth here, you got the brow right here, and it looks like it's hand painted because the lines are a little shaky, you know, which is kind of a cool touch. I mean, it's not a mass-produced figure. I noticed the bill comes out a little bit, and I did try pulling the bill out, thinking that it's interchangeable, just like the Turtles. I don't know if you guys watched my review on the original 4-pack for the Turtles, but you could interchange the mouths and the heads and swap them out, and you could customize your expressions. Well, I tried taking this bill off, and it would not come off, and I don't want to risk breaking or damaging the figure, so I just ceased and tried to pull the bill off. But there is a way to interchange the head. I'm going to take his pilot's hat off. It's because the top of the neck is a ball socket joint right here, and the bottom of the head you have a ball socket port. All you do is simply just pop it back into place, just like that, and it pops right back into place. And I'm going to put A-Stuck off to the side really quickly, because Mutant Man is slightly different in the way you interchange his head. And yes, there's a way to interchange this little brain piece right here to kind of change his expression. Right here he looks kind of sad and you know, just not very confident in his expression right here. In order to interchange his head right here, you gotta unplug these pieces from his body. You gotta pull it off to the side. You got this clear piece right here. You just kind of snap it open. You got this, it's like a chest plate. Put it off to the side. You got a brain stem right here that attaches to the guts right here. But at the top of this brain stem, you have a ball socket port, and just pull the head right off. At the bottom of the head right here, you have a porthole. And let me go and bring in Mutagen Man's second head, and this one's where he looks a little bit angrier. Very nicely detailed, and as you can see the teeth, the jaw, and everything is nicely done. Well, I'm going to put the default head back on. Well, on the default head right here, you have a porthole right there. You want to take the brain stem. If you want to take it out, you can take it out. But you just pop that ball socket joint right into the porthole, just like that. Take the bottom of the brain stem, just plug it right into the guts, just like that. And there's also a little peg in the back of the brain right here. You can just peg that right back into the body, just like that, so it's nicely and secured. Take that chest plate now, and it goes right into place, steps right into place. And the difference between this Mutagen Man and the original was, the body piece was molded out of like one piece and was sealed. There's a little porthole on the top where you can fill liquids, where you could, if you chose to put your mutagen ooze in there, you could fill the figure with mutagen ooze. You had little body pieces, like pieces of like fish and garbage that could float around in the slime, or you could put water in it, which is what I did. You can't really do that because there's no seal, because this figure is pretty much just for display purposes, and these things don't, these little hoses do attach back to the body, but they don't seal the body up. So you don't want to put any liquids in this figure because it's just gonna make a mess and, I mean, cause some paint damage also. But it's a very nicely done figure anyways. But I'm going to take his head, put it off to the side. So the next accessory I want to go and bring in is Mutagen Man's weapon right here. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a rifle of sorts, but it's very nicely detailed, and you get that, a lot of cell shading. Like, you know, they want the sharp contrast, so they kind of make it look like it jumped right out of the TV screen, because you got a lot of the animated details, the black lines around the eyes, the eyebrows, even the blaster. Well, this blaster right here, you slide the hand right into the fist, and you can put that trigger finger right into that trigger hole right there, and now you have Mutagen Man armed with his weapon. On the other hand here, it's the open hand, which is a little bit larger than the other open hand. That's because you have this tank that Mutagen Man comes with. And that's nicely detailed too, and I don't really recall the episode that he was featured in, but I'm sure all these accessories tell a story behind it. I'm going to go and put that tank right into his hand just like that. And now I have Mutagen Man with all of his accessories. Really, really cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and take Ace Duck. And Ace Duck has a lot of accessories also. He has a lot more than Mutagen Man. He has two weapons right here. He's got the regular pistol right here, and he's got a 6-shooter right here. And I chose to arm him, I believe, with the pistol because, you know, the revolver right here. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, with the revolver right here, there's nothing back here. So the holster right here, you pull the flap over the holster. With this pistol here, you got this little piece right there that sticks out, and it kind of will cause some damage to this holster. So for display purposes, since these are default hands, I'm going to slide the revolver right into his fist just like that. And his index finger naturally goes right into that trigger right there. So it looks like you got Ace Duck armed with his pistol, or his revolver. Very nicely done. The only reason I pulled off the hat because I don't want to risk it falling off the table, and I have to go find it and bumble around looking for it. But the next accessory I want to go bring in is his pistol. And this pistol can be stored on the holster, or if you choose to use the other hand where it can arm this pistol, you can do that also. But personally, I'm going to put this pistol right into the holster because that was a unique feature with the TMNT original toy line, like I mentioned earlier on, where it was one of the first toy lines where you could actually store your weapons and your accessories on the figure. You push this pistol into the holster far enough, you pull this flap and it taps right into place just like that. Very nicely done. And this holster is molded out of separate rubbery plastic where it's not part of the body, or it's not molded on the body. So it's an actual accessory, which is really, really cool. Because if you look at the back of the holster here, you have two little holders right here. That is because Ace Duck comes with 2 egg grenades, which are nicely detailed also. They're like little eggs. And they've got some paint detail, and they got the little pin at the very top. I don't know if you guys can see that. I know my hands are kind of in a way. It's kind of hard to hold. But what you do is you take these egg grenades and you slide them right into this like bandolier type holster, just like that. I'll do that to the other side. I'm going to go ahead and put that in just like that. And I believe now I have my Ace Duck fully armed. I just have to go ahead and put his hat back on. He's got most of his accessories. I'll pull his wings out so he looks like he's ready for action. But both figures are really cool, and I probably can display them in these exact same poses. But Ace Duck does come with additional accessories. He comes with this film reel And I don't really recall the episode that either one of these figures were featured in, but I believe he was a movie fanatic, or he was a fan of the old World War II movies. But you get this film reel right here, really nice detail. You get the film sticking out, some rubbery plastic again, very nicely done, nicely detailed. I don't know if you guys can see that. But if you guys don't know what a film reel is, this is what movies are played on in a projector. And that was big back in the day, and I know everything's more digital now, but film reels were a big thing for a long time in the movie industry. I'm going to put that right there. But the next accessory I'm going to bring in is his VHS tape. And the reason why I think he's a movie fanatic is because he comes with both a VHS tape and a film reel. If you don't know what a VHS tape is, this was a physical means of storing movies or playing movies. And this was like huge back in the 80s to the early 90s. And this was actually replaced by DVDs, which were later replaced by Blu-ray. And now everything's streamed, so there's really no physical means or uses for these kind of medias anymore. You might find some Blu-rays on like retail shelves now, but VHS you will not probably find unless you find a company that still makes blank tapes, or there are people that do collect VHS tapes, but they're just little reels of film that contain a movie, and you have to have a VHS player. You put it in, it's called get these little spools in the back here that go into the VHS player, and it kind of just spins it and it plays this tape. Very, very cool, and it just has that look where it could be a VHS tape. Too bad they didn't go further and just give that extra little detail by making it open up a little bit. That'd be kind of cool too, but I can see why they didn't do it. It's a very cool figure. I'm not going to rotate these figures around, but I want to go over the details of these figures. These are so nicely done. I mean, you got the paint detail, which is kind of the cell shading. They want to kind of simulate the cartoon look. That's why you get a lot of the black lines in there. You get that leathery jacket here, and you get this feather right here that ruffles out. And that's because, the whole stereotype behind pilots where they had the hairy-chested men, the men were men back in the day, and that's why they did the feathers sticking out of the pilot jacket like that. I mean, you got the hand detail, like I mentioned earlier on. It kind of looks like his hands are covered in fur. You got the bill, you got the teeth, you got the eyes, you got the hat, you even got the feather detail where they kind of, and it looks like it's hand painted. Very nicely done. You go into the back here, you got this bomber jacket detail where you got these feathers here, and I'm guessing that's how many planes he shot down during the war. You got his pilot insignia right here. You got the jean detail right here, and I noticed that the front part of the jean is a little bit lighter than the back. I don't know if it's because of shadowing or they're trying to simulate cell shading, but they did that with the jacket too. So the front of the jacket's lighter than the back of the jacket. I don't know if it's simulate the lighting detail that would happen in cell shading and cartoons, but very nicely done. Lots of points of articulation. His wings are also on a ball socket joint, but you got the hinge too that kind of goes around, so there's a lot of articulation with the wings alone. And as you can see, as I mentioned earlier on, no way of securing this hat so it keeps on falling off. So I'm probably not going to rotate this figure around so you guys can see what they look like from all angles at the end, because he's very flimsy and he just fell over and proved my point. I'm going to go and rearm him again. Very simple. And I'm going to put his pilot's hat back on because it just sits right on his head. But that's probably why I'm not going to rotate this around. Not because of, any other reason for he might fall over. And you can see like a lot of the paint chips from the hand detail. It's still coming off. But with Mutagen Man, and he was one of my favorites back in the day because he was just a cool toy. And like I mentioned, he had that little tank right here where you could open up the flap right here and fill it with like water. You had little pieces that it came with as an accessory, and you could put it in that water where it floats around. Or you could do the Mutagen thing where you could pour Mutagen in there, which was actually just green slime, and you can put the body parts in there. But the bad thing about that is you cannot get that slime out, and it'd be very hard to wash, and then it dries and flakes, and just it becomes a permanent part of the figure. So I put water in my original one. But here, you get the gut detail, you get the brain detail, which, as a kid, I did not know how they were going to animate Mutagen Man because he was very gross, and that was the whole appeal behind the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles storyline, the gross out factor. Well, they animated it, and he looked like this. And to have that form put in toy form is great because it's very faithful. Both these figures, most of the figures in this toy line are very faithful to the animated model. Very nicely done. But you got like bone detail here. You got a lot of points of articulation. You got little braces throughout the body, which is really, really cool. You got this life support system that actually has pieces that plug into the plastic body cavity right here. You have this backpack detail right here. It's such a nicely done figure. You got a hose right here. You got little clamps right there. Just so nicely done. I'm gonna go ahead and put Mutagen Man down. But if you guys found any of the information in this review valuable, please like and share this video. Also, if you really enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel. And while you're there, click the bell to be notified of any future videos. I want to thank you guys for watching Red Steele's Off the Toy Collector Review. I'll check you guys out next time.